All right, so welcome to Experience It, Learn It, Use It, Model Online Lessons with National Geographic Learning. This is the third in our series of professional development webinars where you, the teacher, become the student. You will learn teaching tips and ideas through taking part in the lesson, because the best way to learn something is by doing it. I'm just going to point out our website address down here in the bottom left of the screen, www.eltngl.com. I strongly recommend that you go to our website later on, have a look at some of the materials, professional development materials we have there, which I will talk about a bit more later on. Okay, so I will very briefly introduce myself. My name is Will Lashett, and I am the teacher trainer for the Asia region for National Geographic Learning. I have been teaching and training in ELT since 2001, and you can see my email address here in case you want to contact me. Today's lesson is called Pushing the Limits, and it is from level 4 of our teen title, Impact. Here is the front cover of the level 4 version of Impact. And yeah, I'm just going to say a few words about Impact. So it's a series that I really like. I find it very inspiring and motivating for teenagers. It encourages self-expression, global citizenship, active participation, and exploration of who they are and who they want to be in life. And yeah, I think it's a fantastic series, as I think you will see for yourselves today. It's available in American and British English from CEFR levels A1 to B2, which is a high beginning to an upper intermediate level. I'm just going to mention, because we're still getting quite a few requests, so we will be issuing a certificate of participation for all of you today. So you will be sent a follow-up email after the session, which will contain links to a short survey, to the certificate, and to some other great teaching resources. So you will be able to fill in your own name, save it, print it, frame it, show it to your boss, or hang it on your wall, or whatever you would like to do with this certificate. Okay, so we're going to start today's lesson, which is on the theme of adventure. And just to get us thinking about the topic, I would like you to type into the chat box for me. Simple question, no right or wrong answer. Okay, what is adventure? Okay, so what does it mean to you? So let's see if we can get a few responses into the chat box. Adventure, what does it mean to you? What is it? Kier says, explore. Adventure is trying and doing something new, from Diana. Very nice. Michael says, trying something where the outcome is unknown. Okay, very nice. Explore, experiencing something new, anything new or that personally challenges, says Sean. Yes, a challenge, that's right. Something exciting and maybe dangerous, says Andrew. Something that promotes adrenaline. That's right, Pauline. Okay, gets the adrenaline pumping. Adventure, a trip, experience something new. Yes, getting out of the comfort zone. Adventure is something we have not done before. Perfect. So we've got a lot of very nice answers there, and we're going to have a look now. I'm going to share a quote with you, which is this: adventure is anything that puts you outside your comfort zone. So we actually had that. Kier Andal said almost exactly that, getting out of the comfort zone. And this is a quote from Cory Richards. He is a National Geographic Photography Fellow and photojournalist, and he is the National Geographic Explorer that is featuring in the lesson that we are looking at today. So yeah, doing something new, doing something challenging, doing something that gets you outside your comfort zone. This is adventure. Okay, now I'm going to quickly have a look at this because I'm using a new kind of feedback today, which I haven't used before. This is feedback that I can get through the Zoom platform. So it's called non-verbal feedback. So if you look in the participant box, which should be on the right of your screen, you should be able to see these icons here. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you can see the icons here? Okay, so I've got 3 thumbs up, 4 thumbs up so far. Okay, so in the participant box, okay, there are 43 of you I can see in there, and I can only see 4 thumbs up. Someone's put thumbs down, so you can't see. Okay, so thumbs up, we've got 6 so far. Okay, I'll just give you a few more seconds. So the participant box, you've got these 4 icons and then a more button. If you click on the more button, you will then see the thumbs down, thumbs up, hand clap, coffee, and clock. And if you just click the thumbs up for me, okay, so we've got 16 now. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so a lot of you have found this. So we're going to be using this today so that I can gauge how many of you are answering the questions. What's really useful about this is I can actually see how many people are voting, so I can see how many people are getting the answer right or wrong, which means that I can use it as a type of formative assessment. So one way we're going to use this today, we're going to use these 4 buttons, the tick, the cross, the backwards and forwards arrows, and we're going to use them to represent A, B, C, and D. So if I move to the next page, I've put 4 pictures of 4 National Geographic Explorers up here. And I've got a very simple question for you. I showed you a picture of Cory a minute ago, and I'd like you to tell me now which picture shows Cory Richards, the explorer we are going to be looking at today. So if you think it's A, I would like you to hit the tick button. If you think it's B, the cross button. If you think it's C, press the backwards button. And if you think it's D, I want you to press the forwards arrow. Okay, so I can see a few people voting now. We've got 2 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, 1 for D. So some quite varied answers here. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just go back and remind you, okay, what it looks like. There he is, there's Cory. Okay, now we'll go back. All right, so we've got 4 yeses, 4 A's, 1 B, 4 C's, and 2 D. So very mixed results. Okay, so it's difficult to see who he is. Okay, so the answer, the correct answer, which 4 of you have got correct, the answer is C. Okay, this is Cory here. And as you can see, he looks very different in this photo to the one that I showed you just a minute ago. Okay, I'm just going to clear those and just try one more. Let's see, one more question for you. From these 4 National Geographic Explorers, can you tell me which one of these do you think is a musician? Okay, so A, B, C, or D. Who do you think is the musician out of these 4? I can see a few answers coming in. Okay, we've got 1A, 2B, 6D, 7D, 8D. Okay, looks like everyone's going for D, and that is the right answer. It is D. And this is, he's a famous musician called Jack Johnson. He's also an environmentalist and obviously a surfer as well. We also have, I'll just tell you the other 2 we've got here. A, this is Cory Jakolski. He's an inventor and an engineer. And B, we have Nizar Ibrahim. He is a paleontologist. So yeah, just to introduce you to a few of the explorers that we have featured in Impact. And yeah, there are actually 8 different explorers in each level of Impact. Okay, very nice. So we'll be using these buttons later on. All right, so today I'm going to be using a piece of software, the classroom presentation tool, and this is the way that I will be using the materials. The classroom presentation tool is perfect for using in the classroom or also online, so it works very well both ways. So today, obviously, we are using it online. So I'm going to swap over, so I need to do a new share. I'm going to do a screen share. So you should be able to see everything that is on my screen. And I have now gone into the classroom presentation tool. And I would like you to just to type into the chat box for me. Okay, what can you see on the screen? Kitty says a mountain. We can see a mountain, that is right. Andrew says a cliff. Sean says El Capitan. A quote from Cory. A stiff cliff, right, yes, a very steep cliff. A quote from Cory Richards. Yeah, so we can see a cliff, we can see a sheer rock face, and we can see a quote from Cory. So let's have a look at the quote. The quote says, we have to learn how far we can go, right? Now, we know that Cory is an explorer, he's an adventurer, and I'm interested to see what Cory means by this. So do you think Cory means, is he talking about traveling far from where you were born? Is he talking about visiting countries a long way away? So what do you think? Can you put into the chat box, is that what Cory Richards means by we have to learn how far we can go? Is he talking about traveling physical distance? Okay, Pauline says how far you can push yourself. And I think that is exactly right, Pauline. Pushing personal limits, I think that's exactly right. So he's not talking about physical distance, he's talking about pushing your limits. And if I click on here, we will see that that is the title of the unit. So pushing your limits is talking about doing something difficult, about doing something harder than you have done before. And as CJ says, getting to know our greatest potential. That's exactly what pushing the limits means. So looking at this quote and looking at the title, can anyone guess what do you think we might have underneath this big white square in the middle? What do you think we might see? Pauline has said a climber, and you might just be able to see a red rope dangling down here. Alex Hannell climbing without a rope. There is a rope, that's right, a rock climber. Let's have a look. Carol says it's a rock climber, and here we are. It is indeed a rock climber. So I've got a couple of questions for you. Yeah, free climbing, that's right, Carol. He is a free climber, and actually this guy is the first guy ever who managed to climb this this rock face, which is actually, if I unclick this box, this is the Dawn Wall in Yosemite National Park in America. It's over 900 meters high, and he did it without any ropes to support him, apart from the ones that he's putting in himself. And it took him and his partner 19 days to get to the top of this sheer rock face. 19 days on the rock. So my question for you, how would you feel about being on this rock face where the climber is right now? How would you feel about taking on this kind of challenge? Is this something that you would like to try? Pauline says terrified, yes. Okay, Carol says never. Okay, no, not for me either. Marcus also says no, I can't do that. Eden says it's exciting. Yeah, I'm sure it is exciting, especially when you get to the top and it's over and 19 days on the rock is finished. Okay, very nice. So yeah, this is yeah, some interesting information we can find out. All of the information I'm giving you, this is from the teacher's book, okay? So it gives you this background information that you can share with your students. All right, I'm going to have a look at the questions down here. All right, so we had a look at the first question. Well, we didn't actually. Okay, why would he choose to climb the rock? So we talked about challenge and about pushing ourselves. Okay, so I think this is really the reason why a lot of climbers do that. I want to focus on the second two questions. So what is the most challenging sport you've ever tried? And why should we challenge ourselves? What is the benefit of taking risks? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put these two questions into the chat box. Okay, so you should be able to see them there. Okay, so we've got question one, what is the most challenging sport you've ever tried? And you'll see that there is a P next to it. I've put the P there to represent personalization. So this is a personalization task to get students to talk about themselves. And the second one, why should we challenge ourselves? What's the benefit of taking risks? This is CT, or a critical thinking task. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put you, all of you, into a breakout room, which is a small room, and I'm going to put you into groups of 4. And I'm going to give you 4 minutes to go into these rooms and to discuss these 2 questions. So there should be 3 or 4 people in each of the rooms that I'm sending you to. You will be sent there automatically with an automatic time limit. And I'd just like you to just think about, as you're going into a room with people you don't know, I just ask you please to try and be, well, not to try, but to be polite and respectful. Okay, and I'd just like you to discuss for 4 minutes, okay, the 2 questions that we've got. Could you just give me a thumbs up if you understand the task? So in the participant box, can you just give me a thumbs up if you know what you're supposed to do? Okay, here we go. I've got 6, 7, perfect. Okay, so it looks like people know what to do. So I am now going to assign you to the rooms. And yeah, you have 4 minutes to discuss these 2 questions.
I don't know if this works.
So I'll see you back here in 4 minutes. Hi, Edward. I'm not sure why you have not been assigned. I'm trying to put you into a room, but for some reason, it won't allow me to send you. Hi, Panida and Richel. I think you've just joined us. So the other participants are actually in a discussion room, and they will be back in just a few seconds. Okay, so if you can just bear with us. Hi, Rin, as well. Yeah, so the others will be back in about 30 seconds. Okay, and I can see everybody now coming back into the main room. Okay, so good. So I hope everyone was okay. I hope everyone managed to have a nice conversation. How was it? Can you just type into the chat box? Was it? Did you have an interesting conversation? We did. Kitty says we did. Okay, that's nice. It was good. That was great. Okay, very interesting. Lovely. Okay, so what I'd like you to type. Oh, so there was a problem with the headset. I'm sorry about that. Everyone talked. Perfect. So I would like to hear. Time wasn't long enough. Yes, I'm sorry, Mario. We always have this problem. We only have 1 hour. So we have to limit it a little bit. Nice to meet new people and to see new faces. Perfect. Okay, so I'd just like you to type into the chat box the most challenging sport you've ever tried. So if you can type in for me. Have any of you tried something challenging, a challenging sport or activity that you have done before? Just type into the chat box for me. So we've got here scuba diving, rock climbing, windsurfing, parasailing, hiking in a cave, paragliding. Wow, okay, so a lot of adventurous people here today. That is very interesting. A triathlon, Pauline? Okay, rock climbing, windsurfing, very nice. And for the other question, I'm going to ask you to question 3, why should we challenge ourselves, or what is a benefit of taking risks? Now, what I'm going to do for this question, I'm going to ask you to type into the chat box, but please only type into the chat box if you are okay, or if you are willing to unmute and to explain the answer, okay, if I call your name. Okay, so we're going to do question 3, why should we challenge ourselves, or what is a benefit of taking risks? So if you would like to unmute and talk about that, please put your answer into the chat box and I will pick someone to explain. Okay, so don't say anything yet. Okay, I'm going to pick someone. I'm going to ask Claudia. So Claudia was first. Claudia, I can't say your name, Aloyterio Gomez. I would like you to unmute and give us your answer,
Claudia
please.
Gomez is okay. It's different
okay.
even in Portuguese. I'm Brazilian. I live in Japan.
Okay.
I teach English for Japanese and Brazilian students here. And
Lovely.
challenging myself is amazing because I always, I can see how far I can go. I can see that I am brave enough to do something. And right. I am not very courageous usually. So challenging myself, I am always trying to challenging myself, because if I just let it go, I don't go anywhere.
Right. Oh, so okay. That's a wonderful answer, Claudia. Yeah. So for those of us who are not very courageous, we need to push ourselves to force us to do new things so we're not stuck in the same place. Exactly. Okay. Thank you, Claudia. That was a very nice answer. I'm going to get one more. I'm going to ask Gary Thomas. You've put challenging yourself helps you grow as a person. So would you mind unmuting and just explaining a little bit?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I think, well, kind of similar to what Claudia said, that if you do these things and you succeed, or even if you don't quite succeed, you still have done something that you wouldn't have normally done. And I think that helps you go on and do other things in the future, be less afraid of trying new things.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Yeah, that's very interesting. You're right. And we can build on success, can't we? So when we do, we push ourselves a little bit out of our comfort zone and do something new. And if we do that successfully, we can use that to build onto other things. So you're absolutely right. Taking these risks, challenging ourselves really helps us to grow and to progress in our lives. Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you very much to Gary and Claudia. That's perfect. Okay, there are lots of you who would like to answer, but unfortunately, we can't get everyone to answer, so we're going to move on, okay, to the next part of the lesson. And we're going to look a bit more about, we're going to learn more about Cory. So just to give you some context, so after that unit opener, we actually have 2 texts here, which have a lot of vocabulary introduced. So this is in context vocabulary being introduced. And then we go through onto the next page, which is the one we're going to do. And we can see that we have Cory here, and we have an activity or an exercise based on Cory's life. So we're going to do this activity now. So this is a gap fill activity, and remember we're using the classroom presentation tool, so this is a nice way to present this to our students, and it's a simple activity. So we have the words on the left, and then we have the gap fill over here, and we need to put these words into the correct place. It also says here that we need to make any necessary changes. So we need to be looking for things like if it's a verb, which ending does it need? If it's a noun, should it have a plural S? That kind of thing. So we're going to go through and do this together. And I'm going to sort of talk us through it as we do it to save a bit of time. So let's have a look. It says photographer and adventurer Cory Richards is used to difficult conditions. It then says Cory has many difficult to bring us some incredible outdoor action photography. So we're looking at the first gap, and we've got here has, and I notice here that the other verbs in the paragraph are in the present tense. So that tells me that here the verb, this is going to be something in the present tense. Because we've got many, I know this is a noun. So I know that this has to be a verb. So I know that it's a verb in the present perfect tense. So if we look at our list over here, can anyone find a verb in the list? Mario says overcome. That's right. Okay, great. So overcome, do I need to change it? So we want the past participle of the verb. It's an irregular verb. So am I going to put overcome or overcame?
Overcome, not
overcome. Okay, great. So we'll put that in. Okay, overcome. And the next one, overcome. Let's see if we got it right. We did. And we're overcoming something means we need to survive, get past. Okay, and it's going to be something difficult to do. And as Sean says, it is obstacles. Okay, so I'm going to put that in. We know it's with an S because here it says many, which means that it's a countable noun. It's got to be plural. So we're going to put the S on there, and this is correct. Okay, let's have a look at a couple more. Cory believes that pushing his something and something limits. Okay, so here we're talking about pushing our limits. So this is talking about something that belongs to him. So really we think of there are usually two types of limits. There's one to do with our mind and one to do with our body. I can see Cam Tui put in physical and mental. Okay, so physical is to do with our body, and mental is to do with our minds. Okay, so we can check the answers, and there we go. And this helps him to better connect with himself and with the world. Okay, so this is the paragraph in the present tense telling us about Cory in general. And now we have an example of something he's done, which is all in the past, okay, in the past tense. So in 2011, Cory successfully climbed an 8,000-meter peak in the middle of winter in the Himalayas. So this sounds absolutely terrifying to me. However, due to the something conditions, okay, so here, what do we think? Are they good conditions or bad conditions?
hazardous condition.
Okay, Eden's telling me they are hazardous. Okay, so they're going to be bad. Okay, so the word here closest fit is going to be this one, hazardous. This challenge nearly cost him his life, so he almost died on this trip. On the way down, Cory and his team were caught in a major avalanche. So all of the snow and ice came falling down the mountain, and him and his team got caught in it. And Cory said, once the avalanche took us, there was no more fear, says Cory. Although this experience scared him, he still takes risks to get a great photo. So Cory's something, so we've got this apostrophe S, it means it's talking about one of his characteristics. We've got endurance, so it's a noun. And we've got here determination is absolutely right. Let's get that in. And these things, they make him a great what? So what does that make him? These characteristics he has, they make him a great role model, especially for teenagers. You know, when we look at him, we can see exactly as we said earlier, pushing ourselves to your limit, to learn new things, and having determination, not giving up. These are great qualities that we can inspire teenagers to follow. Okay, thank you very much. That is perfect. So we've gone through the activity. Okay, we can check all the answers, and we could reset them, okay, and show the answers again. Okay, very nice. So We're going to have a quick look down here. As we are limited on time today, we can't go through and do every single activity. So we're going to have a look at this one. So we had a look at some of the vocabulary there describing Cory, and we've got another activity here. So I would like you to put into the chat box now any characteristics that you think adventurers like Cory need to have. So we put determined, okay, we had determined was already in the article there. What other characteristics do adventurers need to have? If you could just put it resilient, okay, so resilience. They need to be a risk taker. Patient, says Eden, that's interesting. Perseverance, bravery. Okay, very nice. We've got some good ideas there. I'm going to put something into the chat box now. I'm going to put some sentence stems in. We've got here a couple more. Resourcefulness, okay, and ability for forward planning. That's right. Okay, so I'm going to put into the chat box. I've put some sentence stems in here, and I'd like you to use these sentence stems to answer the second question. So let me just zoom in on the second question. Here we go. Okay, so the second question is, which of these characteristics do you have? So I'd like you to type in a sentence, okay, so any of those characteristics that we talked about there, courageousness, persistent, okay, being resourceful. I'd like you to type in, if you think you have them, using one of these sentence stems. Okay, I think I am. I would say that I am. I'll just put them in again. I think I sent them individually to Gary. I'll send them to everyone, would make more sense. Okay, here we go. Here are the sentence stems. So yeah, using those, which of these characteristics do you think that you have? So I'm going to put in here, we had determination. So I'm going to put in, I think I am quite determined. So that's my sentence. Okay, I think that if I have something that I want to achieve, I think that I can get there. Sean says, I'm not overly concerned with failure. And I think that's very important if you want to be adventurous, okay? Because if you're too worried about failing, you're not going to do anything. Pauline says, I like to think I'm pretty resilient, courageous, and determined. And I know Pauline very well, and I agree with you, Pauline. You definitely are resilient, courageous, and determined. Eden says, I'd like to sound quite courageous. Paul, I'm capable of finishing what I start. Perfect. Good. So as you can see, this is one thing we can do to help students. We can put in these sentence stems, and we can encourage students, okay, to make their own sentences personalized about themselves. And if we have more time, I would get you to explain. I would also, I'm going to put in some other sentence stems for the next question. We're not going to do it because of time, but I'm just going to put them in. So here I've put a few sentence stems in for the other question, which is, which would you like to have? So which of these characteristics would you like to have? So we could say, I would like to be more, I wish I was, I'm not very, but I'd like to be. Yeah, so this is a nice simple way, okay, to scaffold the task for our students if they need that extra support. Okay, that's perfect. Right, we're going to move on to the next activity. So we're flipping through a few pages. I should say what we're doing. So we've got the grammar pages here and some reading. We've got more vocabulary. Okay, remember, all, again, in context, okay, from a reading about an amazing woman called Amy, who snowboarder, even though she has lost both of her legs. So that's an incredible story. Yeah, and we're going to move on to this. So this is the video lesson, which has a video about Cory in it. Just having a look at the comments. Gary says, I'd like to be more of all of them. And Richelle says, I wish I was more adventurous. Okay, well, hopefully today we can inspire you to be a little bit more courageous. Okay, so let's have a look at, first of all, the name, okay, the title of this video. So this is Cory's video, and the title is A Tribute to Discomfort. which I think is an interesting title. Let's have a look at the first word here, tribute. So the word tribute, is it a positive word or a negative word? When we pay tribute to something, Gary's saying it's positive, that's right. And how about discomfort? So is that a positive word or a negative word for discomfort? So comfort, like comfortable, and dis, okay, the prefix there makes it negative. So yeah, that's something negative. So we've got paying tribute, which means that you love, like, or respect something. But then what we're paying tribute to is something discomfort, which means being uncomfortable or painful even. So what do you think this video might be about? Okay, so we know Cory is an adventurer, we know he's a mountaineer, he's a photographer. So what do you think the video might be about based on this title? So paying tribute to something that causes you pain. So Paul's put here, it's about challenge. Carol says, a difficult challenge he faced. Yeah, the ups and downs of his adventure, how to get through a challenge. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so these are some, yeah, very nice ideas. So we just, before we watch the video, we want to think a little bit, okay, about what we think, make some predictions about the content. Gary says mind over matter. That is right. Okay, so we're going to watch the video. It's a little over 3 minutes. Okay, and as you watch the video, I've got a task for you. So as you watch it, I would like you to think about and perhaps make some notes and answer these questions here. So what is adventure for Cory? Why does Cory take photos in extreme places? What is Cory's most important tool or skill for connecting with the people he photographs? And finally, how has Cory's photography changed since he started? So his approach is different now compared to what he did before. I'm going to put these questions into the chat box, so you should be able to see those. I sent them to everybody. Those are the questions, because when I play the video, you won't be able to see them. So can you just tell me, can everybody see the questions in the chat box? Okay, Kitty says yes, perfect. All right, so let's get on. So we've got 4 questions. Now, this is not easy, okay? Remember, the level we're looking at here is a upper intermediate, high intermediate level. So we're only watching it once. So don't worry if you don't get all of the answers, because it's not easy, okay? But hopefully amongst all of us, we should be able to get all of the answers. So let's watch the video and yeah, take some notes, and I hope you enjoy it.
My education came from observing what was happening around me and observing that richness that comes with struggle. I was always looking for a way to translate what I was seeing around me, and photography became my voice in this big, very confusing world. And that was the beginning. I think adventure is anything that puts us outside our comfort zone. In my world, that has always been going into the mountains. In 2010, 2011, I went to Pakistan to climb in the Himalaya in winter. We did the first ascent of Gasherbrum 2, an 8,000 meter peak in the Karakoram Himalaya. And that trip changed my life forever. On the descent, we were hit by an avalanche that nearly killed all 3 of us. When I realized that I had not died, I turned a camera on myself and took an image, and that image ended up being put on the cover of National Geographic. There was no way of knowing at the time that that image, that was really just my way of dealing with stress, was gonna push my life in such a dramatic direction towards telling that larger story of what it means to hurt and what it means to triumph and what it means to be human. I've never been comfortable in the place that I'm in. I can't stop and sit. It's a constant engine that just keeps driving me towards the things that are unknown to me. It doesn't matter if I can't feel my fingers. It doesn't matter how my face stings and literally feels like it's getting sandblasted. What matters is that somebody else can feel that by looking at a picture. I've been to all 7 continents. I've witnessed sunrise over the highest mountains in the world. Polar bears standing on the last piece of ice on the farthest north piece of land in the Eurasian continent. And faces, I've seen faces that are just years and years of history, all wrapped into one single expression. The most important tool for connecting with anybody that you're photographing is being able to make somebody laugh.
You're not that much older. Yeah.
Just give them that moment, all of a sudden you have a friend for life. And the whole world opens up. My job is to communicate a real, raw, visceral experience. And despite the seriousness of all of this, and despite the fact that we are facing massive problems as a human family, we're still experiencing each other and loving and having a ton of fun. I mean, life is fun. This started as a way for me to communicate what I was experiencing. And what it's become is a way for me to communicate what we are experiencing.
Okay, so that is a video. I really enjoy the video. What did you think of the video? Diana says it's a touching video. Yeah, I think it is. And how about his photography? He's got some absolutely incredible, inspiring, awesome. Yeah, I think, Richard, you've got that right. It is inspiring. And, you know, to see people who are so passionate about what they do, so courageous, so talented, you know, I think this is exactly what we should be, you know, sharing with our teen learners, and I think it's something that they will be very interested in, and something that they can relate to. You know, this is a young guy as well doing this, so yeah, I think a very nice video for our teen learners, well, and for anyone really, for adult learners as well. Okay, so let's have a look at the questions. We'll have a look at question 1. What is adventure for Cory? Did anyone manage to get it? Can we put that into the chat box?
Going to the mountains.
Going to the mountains. Yes, that he does say that, going to the mountains. It's something else as well. Going to the mountains, being outside of his comfort zone. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to click here, and I can bring the answers up. So what is adventure? Anything that puts us outside our comfort zone. That's right. Okay, how about the second question? Why does Cory take photos in extreme places? Did anybody get that? So Paul says, knowing what real life means. Attraction to the unknown. He can't sit still. That is how he communicates his ideas. To make people feel what he feels. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, to tell a story of what it means to hurt, to triumph, and to be human. So I think it's similar to this. Yeah, to feel the experience, as Carol says here. To feel the experience through his photos. So this is telling a story, right? Okay, so well done, Carol. Okay, very nice. How about the next question? What is Cory's most important tool for connecting with the people in his photograph?
Being able to make them laugh.
Being able to make people laugh. CJ's got it. Okay, Karen's got it. That is absolutely right. Making people laugh. And the last, you're doing very well. These are not easy questions. The last one, how has Cory's photography changed since he started? So at the beginning, he was trying to tell a story. It used to be about, like Gary says, it used to be about his experience. Yeah, it used to be about his experience. And Carol says now communicating what we experience. And that is the correct answer. So Carol and Gary, you got it. At first, he wanted to communicate what he was experiencing. Now he wants to communicate what we are experiencing, people all around the world. So it's this shift in his perception from being focused on himself to being focused on everybody that he meets and connecting with everybody. And again, I think that is a very nice message for people, that, you know, we're not going through life on our own. It is about shared experiences and being able to communicate with, connect with, empathize with people all across the world. Okay, thank you. That's well done, everyone. You got all of the answers correct there. That was excellent. And we've just got 15 minutes left. So the last activity we're going to do, and it's going to be another, speaking activity for you. So I'm going to put you into groups again. So let me just get the questions for you. Here we go. So I'm going to put 2 more questions. Here they are. Okay, so you should be able to see these in the chat box. I'll zoom in here just to have a look. So it says, Cory gets out of his comfort zone by climbing the tallest mountains in the world in the winter. So most of us can't do that. What takes you out of your comfort zone? So that's the first question. It doesn't have to be something, something crazy, okay, or dangerous. It could be anything at all. How could you get more adventure from your life? What do you think you might learn about yourself by trying something new? So 2 questions. What gets you outside of your comfort zone? And the other question is, how could you be more adventurous? What could you do, or what could you learn by trying something new? So I am going to put you into the breakout rooms again. Again, we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to give you, I'm going to set, okay, 13 rooms. Okay, and I think you should be in different rooms this time, so you're talking to someone else. I'm going to give you 4 minutes again. Okay, so if everybody's ready, yeah, if you can't speak for some reason, you can just use the chat. Okay, just use the chat box. All right, so you've got 4 minutes to discuss these questions. We'll come back and get some feedback. Okay, off we go. Okay, and I can see people returning to the room, to the main room now. Okay, so we've got, I think everyone is back. That's great. Okay, so again, I hope you had a nice experience, a nice chat in there. And we're going to use the chat box again. So the first one, could you type in for me into the chat box, what takes you out of your comfort zone? Okay, so I'd just like a few ideas in the chat box. Anything that you discussed? Dream, travel, says Pauline. Sean says large crowds, especially at the moment, Sean. Want to keep away from them. Unexpected change, right, Karen? I think that is probably the same for most people. To fight boredness. Too little, I work too much, says Gary. Okay, new faces and places. Zoom social meetings. Okay. All right, great. Traveling. Okay, right, very interesting. Okay, thank you. Unexpected, unfortunate events. Okay, so we're going to move on to the last question. And the last question, I'm going to ask a couple of you to give me some feedback. So let's, same thing we did last time. For question 3, how could you get more adventure from your life? Or what do you think you might learn about yourself by trying something new? Can you please type into the chat box now your answer for that? And only type in if you are happy to unmute and to answer the question. So question 3, how could you get more adventure from your life? What might you learn about yourself? Could you type something into the chat box now? And I will invite 1 or 2 of you to give me an answer. Okay, so Paul has put to challenge more myself and to be a challenge to others. Okay, Paul, so would you like to unmute and explain a little bit?
Hi.
Hi, Paul. Hi.
Good morning. As I shared to my chat, I want to challenge myself more because it's too hard to be having sharing your life to others, especially if you don't have the capacity to do that, especially if you have a problem mentally, physically, and you cannot afford to go places like any other places. So I want to try those things.
Okay, right. Thank you very much. Yes, I mean, you're right. So, you know, we all have our own limitations, don't we? You know, whether it what we can afford to travel or what, you know, mental or physical limitations. So you're saying that by challenging yourself more, you can expand your boundaries. You can overcome more. Okay,
Yes,
thank you,
correct.
Paul. Okay, thank you very much. That's very interesting. And I'm just having a look down the list. Let's see what we can have here. I grow more and learn new things, trying things I've never tried before, discovering new things. Karen has put, I'm not so keen on physical challenge, but the mental challenge of traveling to new places is appealing to me. Karen, would you mind answering that one for me?
Yeah, can you see me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, okay then. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a physically active or adventurous person. I don't like the idea of climbing mountains or swinging through the trees, but I do like the idea of new experiences, of seeing new cultures and trying new things and meeting new people. So, you know, that in that way, I would like to be adventurous and more adventure.
Okay. Great, thank you, Karen. Okay, yeah, that's very nice. And I think that's probably something that a lot of people would agree with you. You know, that climbing mountains is not for everybody, but certainly going to new places. And when we do go to new places, interacting with the people and the culture, that is something very challenging and also something quite achievable for most of us. So yeah, thank you, Karen. That was a very interesting answer. And unfortunately, we don't have time for any more answers, although I would be very interested to hear more from you, but unfortunately we are limited on time. So I'm just going to
lampas na siya sa isang oras, so.
I'm just going to quickly wrap up by showing you the last page in the unit here, which is something that I think is really nice feature of Impact, that after you've gone through the unit using Cory as a thread all the way through the unit, talking about testing your limits, doing something new, students then have an opportunity to actually do one of these projects, one of these tasks. So one of them is do something you've never done before and then write about it and present to the class. There's also the choice to make a video or to interview a role model, someone in the community. So we have these three very practical tasks which really promote you know, the 21st century skills and really encourage our students to be active. I would like to encourage you to try something new. I would like you as homework from this lesson to go out this week and try something you've never done before. And rather that you don't have to write a paragraph, but then you can tell somebody about it. Okay, so think about what you've learned and tell somebody your experience that you had. Okay, so we've only got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to open it up to any questions that we might have. So if you have any questions, could you please type them into the chat box? Let's give you a couple of minutes to think about that. And while I'm waiting, I'm just going to go back into my PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions at the moment, which is okay. How do you, Gary says, how do you suggest getting some of the more shy participants to engage more in an online class? I think there are different ways we can do it, Gary. Some of the ways that I use today, I think putting people into smaller groups helps because, you know, asking people to unmute and talk in front of a lot of people are scared of that. That is putting them outside their comfort zone. Another thing that I didn't do today, but you can do using Zoom, is you can use annotation. So I'm just going to start annotating on the screen now. So something you can do, you can get students to annotate. So when you have questions, multiple choice, you can get them to click like this. And although the hearts at the moment, you can't see who's doing them, there is a setting in Zoom that you can see who is annotating. So the teacher will know who is annotating where. Yeah, so that is something, couple of things that we can do. Do you have any ideal length for courses using a title in this series? Yeah, so if you go to our website there, which I will put into the chat box now. If you go to the website, for some reason I can't get out of, can someone put into the chat box for me? There we go. Yeah, if you go into our website and then type in impact into the search, you can go in there and you will find pacing guides. So under the companion site, yeah, here it is, Rin's put it in, you will find pacing guides on there. And the pacing guides will tell you how long you'd take for each unit. I think the recommendations are about between 2 and 6 hours per unit is what we recommend. Yeah, so all the information is there. Okay, I'm going to clear all the annotations. Okay, and move down. For some reason, here we go. Okay, I've got back, control is back. Okay, so I'd just like you to direct you to our next webinar, which is next week. So some of you will remember Andrew from last week, and next week he is doing a session on Reach Higher, which is based on language, literacy, and content. Andrew, do you want to, is there anything you would like to say about that? If you want to unmute and just give us a quick preview.
Yeah, hi guys. Just quickly, Reach Higher is a program that's used in some international schools for students who are doing second language English learning or sometimes first language English learning. So it is a very different program to some of the other ones because it's not a foreign language program. So it's more comparable to maybe something taught in an American school or a British school or Australian school, things like that. So it's, if you want to find out a little bit more about it, just check it out on the website. But then next week we'll be doing an example lesson about that one from grade 2 level. So you'll get to see what that looks like there. So thanks, Will.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Okay, very nice. And I was just going to show you, yeah, so this is the Impact website. So if you go in here, there's a lot of great materials in here. I'm not sure if you can actually see. Here we go. I share screen. Here we go. Now you can see it. So we have a professional development section here with lots of videos on how to teach teenagers and how to use these materials. We've got a blog, we've got webinars. There's so many resources here. I really recommend you have a look at it. There's also a whole section on how to teach teenagers, how to encourage global citizenship. And also there are all of the resources, teachers resources and student resources. All of the audio is on here. For teachers resources, if I show you quickly, you will be able to find, this is, you need a password for this. This is only if you're actually using the course. You have the teacher's book, you have assessment, ready-made tests, customizable tests. You have all of the audio, you have graphic organizers. Here are the pacing guides I was talking about. Placement tests, all the video, loads of extra worksheets. I think there are about 6 extra worksheets per unit. So a lot of other materials there. And finally, we don't have time to look at it, but we also have My ELT, which is an online workbook, which has all the video, all the audio. So students will be able to go in here. You can send them their homework and you can check their progress. You can see their scores. And this is very motivating for the students to have this online. All right, so we have run out of time, unfortunately. So I'm sorry about that because there's lots more we could say. So I'm just going to wrap it up by saying thank you very much for attending today. If you get the chance, I would like you to go to either our Facebook or our WeChat page. You can register, become a fan, you can like us, and then we will send you automatically any information about upcoming events that might be relevant to you. So thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.